Okay, let's talk about exponential functions. So exponential functions either rise very quickly, as you see on the graph on the left, or they fall very quickly. Typically, this is known as exponential growth, and this is known as exponential decay. Sadly, we know exponential growth, COVID, things, diseases that grow very quickly, and then, of course, on the other side, being decay. These functions have how you know you have an exponential function. So let's just say this is 4, but it's the variable is in the exponent. So that has to be a variable. I mean, let's go back and talk about if you had 4x, that's linear. If you had 4x squared, that's quadratic. So the only way you have an exponential function is if that variable is in the exponent. Now notice that I put this 4 to the x power, and this function over here could be 4 to the negative x power, and that's hence the decay. When you start plugging things in, you just plug in. If I wanted to evaluate this function at 2, I simply would just let x equals 2, and then that's my 4 times 4, or 4 squared, which is 16. So you'll see that in the first section, there won't be a lot of applications of this, but then we really get into it. You'll see it again when you get into finance type questions, because that's actually where this whole exponential thing originated. So when you see this E, and you might be like, I have no idea. You know, most of you know about pi, right? The whole 3.1415, so in other words, this is an approximate value. And actually, E is the same. It's an approximate value. It's like approximately 2.718 and so on. So you have to realize that when you're working these problems, you have to find that E on your calculator, or if you want to use Excel, it's actually EXP, and then what's in the parentheses is the exponent. So they just give you an example here of this function. So assets, and they say 301e to the 0.035x. Notice I put a 0 out front. I just kind of like to have that extra 0 there. And so from here now, I'm just going to plug values in my calculator. So the first one, it says if x equals 7, that's 2007. So the first one, I would simply plug in x equals 10, meaning I'd put 301.e 0.035 and then times 10 in my calculator. And I get rounded 427.1, and these answers are in billions of dollars. So then you'll just do the same thing for each one of these. You'll plug in 14, and you'll plug in 19. You'll see that we'll do more with exponentials after this section. We just want to kind of get you familiar with them, how to plug things in on your calculator, and all that kind of good stuff.